Hi, Laurel. It's Margie with Basmati. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm really great. I'm enjoying these cooler mornings, and still yet the sun is out, so I'm absolutely in an amazing, great space.
Yeah, the weather is lovely.
It's so nice right now. Today we're speaking with Laurel Hansen. She's with saltybeats.com. She's going to share with us a little bit about her journey, and I'm going to ask her a little bit about some of the other fun stuff she does. So, let's tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, I guess I would start about 10 years ago. I'd been practicing Bikram yoga about once a week, and I knew it benefited me, but I was very busy with work and life stuff, so I didn't dedicate a lot of time to it. And then by a lucky chance, I guess we can call it, I was laid off from my full-time job, and then my fiancé called off the wedding, and so I was homeless, broke, had nothing going on in life, and I thought, what should I do with my time? And so I joined a roller derby team, the Sacred City Derby Girls. And after a few months of full contact sport, I realized I needed yoga more than ever. And so I took a work study position with Catherine Body over at Bikram Yoga Lincoln at the time. And I've been practicing ever since. About 4 years after starting that work study, I went to teacher training, and now yoga is my full-time thing, yoga and roller derby.
So that was the fun surprise I was going to say, was the roller derby part,
Oh.
and, which is awesome. And so
yeah, they're linked.
they're so linked, and I crack up. You think of, roller derby as a super aggressive sport, right? And then yoga,
yeah, it is.
And then yoga is Zen. And so you're actually balancing out your life that way. How does that work for you?
Well, I have a lot of internal angst and turmoil, just about a lot of things and about nothing. And I find that roller derby gives me a place to spend aggression and the really intense things, but I find that yoga does just as much for me in that way too. It kind of like helps it leave my body in a different way. I would say that, with derby, I'm like pushing, smashing, forcing, and then with yoga, I'm like accepting and releasing. And so I find that they work perfectly together, and I don't think that I would have a balanced life without both poles. It really is the yin and the yang. It really is.
Yes, that's awesome. And so I'm going to ask you, just because I know you well, and I know that you've had some injuries, right? And some things. And how was it being an instructor? You couldn't participate the same way emotionally for you, and in the healing process for you with yoga.
Well, it was really emotional. I just gotten to a place in Derby where I'd accomplished something that I've been working at for years, and then immediately after that, I broke my ankle, and my first thought was, "That's it. It's over. Roller derby is over." But then I remembered right away all the times that someone was injured in derby or someone was injured in yoga. Like, yoga will fix this. Yoga will solve your problems. Yoga will heal you. And so almost immediately after I broke my ankle, I thought, this is my opportunity to put my money where my mouth is, so that people can watch me heal my broken ankle with Bikram yoga. So that was the face that I put on. I was in class with a little leg trolley and a brace and just barely doing anything, but I was there. And everyone said, "Oh, you never lost your smile, you never lost your hope." But the truth is at home, I cried a lot. I helpless. But overall, I knew that that the yoga would get me to the other side. And honestly, it did better than even I hoped, because when I came back to skating, I hadn't even lost my endurance. You know, I was just as fit as before I broke my ankle, even from just laying in bed with my leg up for weeks at a time.
That's awesome. I know what yoga has done for me in my inner journey as far as practicing stillness on the mat, even while I'm being active, right? And how that's helped consolidate my energy as far as projection in other situations. How has yoga helped you? I know this is a big question, but emotionally?
When I was younger, like a kid, I was known for having a super quick, super volatile temper. And while I still benefit from that impulse in Derby, yoga has helped me stand back, take a deep breath, and really think about what consequences my gut reaction could create. Yeah. And even in Derby, even though it's quick and you have to make second-to-second decisions, I feel like yoga has given me an extra second to decide my next move. Because, you know, we talk about finding comfort in the discomfort, you know, the stillness, but the action. So yoga has, ultimately made me a better person, not just, you know, more capable, but, you know, I have the time to recognize that other people have emotions too before my emotions kind of explode.
Yep. What's your favorite posture right now?
My favorite posture was originally my least favorite, and I think it's almost everyone's, is camel. So it's a super emotional posture. After you're done, it's like you want to throw up or something. For me, I really feel the purge when I do that posture. I feel, you know, my heart chakra open, and I'm like, you know, even when the first set makes you feel so sick, I'm like, that just means that there's more to push out in the second set, and I always feel better after the second set of camel, always. So I'm always ready to do that. Plus, it's a back bend, and all back bends heal the spine, and I hear that every time I do it.
That's awesome. So for someone who might be a little intimidated to go, and I know you teach Yin as well.
Yes.
And so why don't you tell me a little bit about Yin before I go into that?
Well, Yin, so we say Yin and Yang, and we would say that Bikram is a Yang style yoga where there's forcing and holding postures. You know, you hold a strong, tightened muscle. So Yin is the opposite. I say that Yin is the yoga of surrender. You take a posture that is comfortable and you relax into that posture for 5 to 7 minutes. The challenge there is not to move and not to, you know, to go through your body place by place, muscle by muscle, and let everything relax. You know, after the first minute or so, you'll immediately start to feel like, oh, I don't really like how that feels on my hip or my knee. But that's not the time to shift. That's the time to breathe and let your hip or your knee or your back give in to the posture. Let the muscles go. Let everything go. And I think that Yin is a very good posture or a very good practice for beginners because you have that freedom to find your posture. It's not as rigid as, say, Bikram with all the minute corrections that are to be made. You make the corrections in Yin, but the real challenge is to live with those corrections for the 5 to 7 minutes, I would say.
Yes. For people who may be intimidated to go into a yoga class, what would you say to encourage them?
what I always say is that you can sit down whenever you want. You can have a drink of water. You can just take your time on your mat and recover. I hear people say, especially about Bikram, like, oh, I could die in there. Well, you're not going to die because you can just sit down and drink some water, right? And I think the intimidation factor for people in yoga is that they feel they're expected to be flexible, or they're expected to be able to do all of the postures, or they're expected to complete the entire class from start to finish. And I don't think that expectation comes from like a gym aerobics class, and I don't know why yoga has that essence about it, but really you have every right to your self-care. And I always encourage people, like, go in there and do what you can, and then just sit down. There's no stigma. Just sit down. Yeah. You know, I think that's the power of yoga.
Besides your own healing journey with the 26 and 2, what have you seen for other people?
Wow, I've seen so many things. I saw a man come in once about 7 years ago. He had giant braces on both knees, and he walked in with a cane, hunched over. He was in his late 60s. He could barely stand. And he was there doing the Bikram postures the best that he could. And now I watch him. He walks in. He stands upright. He skips. He can jump. He can do all of the postures. You know, it's incredible. And you can't say he was, you know, oh, I'm too old, I can't get this benefit, but
or too broken. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. I've also seen
major
people,
healing. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've seen a lot of people with high blood pressure after just 2 or 3 sessions see a significant reduction, and we're able to reduce their blood pressure medication like right away. Skin ailments cure up almost instantly, you know, like one class.
With the detoxing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I just see a lot of people, they tell me all the time, like, this helps my stress. It helps me deal with my kids. It helps me deal with my job.
Yeah.
You know, and that's even for people who can't come all the time.
I know there, you know, was a lot of stigma and bad talk about the Bikram, and I won't go into that. But one thing I want to say is the 26 and 2 postures are definitely healing postures. And I know you know this and why the process is the way it is. And if you would share a little bit about and you touched on it with the blood pressure medicine, but these postures are designed to really release the organs, your thyroid, your central nervous system. So would you mind sharing, obviously, you know, we can't say it treats it, right? But that there are healing benefits through these postures. And I know you've seen that, haven't you, yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I guess I would like to start by saying that, you know, Bikram Chowdhury, he brought us the 26 postures and 2 breathing exercises. But those postures are 2,000 years old from the Vishnu Ghosh lineage. So it's not, he didn't invent the posture. What he invented was the order. And the order of the postures is what really makes the difference in the Hot 26 and 2. Each posture prepares the body to better accept the following posture.
Yes.
So, you know, we start with pranayama deep breathing. We open up the lungs. So right then we have much better breathing, much better absorption, and we're better prepared even to deal with the heat in the room. You know, we go through the spine strengthening series on the floor with Cobra and floor bow, and that prepares us to do camel, which is the deepest back bend. And all of that work opens up every organ, joint, system in the body, Standing bow transfers blood from one side of the body to the other and then back the opposite way. So we're resetting our nervous system, like every single part of the body, including the brain. The brain is so activated in Bikram. I mean, we can't say it enough, the mind-body connection. There's a lot in medical science when they say, oh, it's all in your head. Well, your head lives in your body, and it is connected to everything that you do. So if it's in your head, that's a big problem, you know. And what I think that the 26 and 2, its biggest healing benefit is that you are able to tune in and access every tiny part of your body. You can find the point where things are going wrong, and you can send the messages to fix it. And that's the power of the human body right there.
Yes, and it truly is working your body from the inside out.
Absolutely.
Laurel, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. It's so lovely talking to you.
Yeah.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.